Say his name.
Keito O'Neil.
Say his name. Jenkin.
Resign.
Jenkin.
Resign.
Jenkin.
Resign.
Jenkin.
Resign.
Jenkin.
Resign.
That he misled us to have us believe that he would be different. That's why people voted him in. And he's just part of the norm. He didn't make any big effort to investigate my nephew's case. Now I want requesting to see the file. I want it open to me. I want to know what evidence, who did he speak to come up with this decision. This decision is affecting my life. It's going to affect every black and brown man's life. Because the message is clear. If he's standing by Brook Jenkins and allowing her to dismiss cases, he is not going to hold her accountable. He's the higher monarchy. He's the big cop.
And it was just the murder of Brown, Banko Brown, and
Keito O'Neil is my nephew.
But there seems one word.
Well, there's now Sean Moore's family. There's now the Banko case. He's not going to do anything. He's going to allow Brook to do what she wants. They're on the same page.
My name is Jesus from the Mission District, grew up in Hunters Point, and we're out here for Keito O'Neil. Today, Bonta chose to not pursue justice and not press any charges against the pig named Officer Christopher Samayoa. You know, Brook Jenkins refused to press charges. It's crazy that they put so much effort in recalling a DA that was going to press charges, and as soon as she got in office, she made it her duty to not press charges against any officer. I have yet to see the day in my lifetime where they press charges for any murderous cop in the city of San Francisco or in the Bay Area in general. So here we are, still fighting for the Keito O'Neil family. We got some people in the courtroom, we got some people out here, and we're going to continue pursuing justice. It's a sad day, but it's very predictable for the city of San Francisco, for law enforcement in general, for the Attorney General, for the DA, for everybody. I didn't expect nothing from you, but we keep bringing the noise to your house, to your courthouse, to your office, wherever it's at, so expect more.
And this has happened before in your neighborhood?
Yeah, so Mario Woods was killed 2 years ago. 2 years before Keito O'Neil was killed, within the 3-block radius. Like, I grew up right there, like 2 blocks from Mario Woods was killed and 2 blocks from where Keito O'Neil was killed. So my nephews and my nieces, they still wait for the bus at the same bus stop where Mario Woods is killed. Now we got Keito O'Neil, we got Kenneth Harding Jr., we got Jessica Williams, and that's just within the Bayview Hunters Point. You reach out to my other community Mission District, you got Alex Nieto, Luis Gongora, we got Dolfer, Amnica Perez Lopez. I mean, the list just goes on. There's so many names that don't like get mainstream attention. Kind of like last year around Malcolm X's birthday, we had 2 houseless men that were killed. One of them was a white man that was attacking a brown houseless man, and they killed them both. Why? Because why not, right? And because they don't have family or people that we were able in contact with, we made noise, we turned up, but it was hard to get like community input, and we still, fight for them. So yeah.
And I mean, it seems like by not prosecuting these murderers, they're basically giving them a free pass. They're saying it's okay to kill people. Do you feel that that's basically?
No, yeah, they enable it. They continue like the genocide. I mean, where does policing start from? It starts from slave catching, and they've killed and they've done public executions then, and they're doing public executions now. It's 2023. Not a lot has changed. That's why we fight for abolition, to where like a more community-centered, community-led plan to protect people in our community as opposed to shoot them dead, especially unarmed people or people who are having mental health crises.
And Rob Bonta, the Attorney General, promised the people of California he was going to do justice when it came to these murders. How do you feel about his failure to prosecute?
Well, it's typical of any politician or anyone in a position of power to lie to get the seat in the position of power. They'll use their race. That's why you got identity politics. They'll use their past. But if you're not pursuing justice, you're just as bad as any person before you. You haven't done nothing new that I haven't seen. Lip service is one thing. I'm all about actions. That's why we're here today.
And you have a black mayor, London Breed. You have a black district attorney, Brooks Jenkins. You have a black chief of police, Scott, and yet it seems like they're carrying out what the system wants.
Yeah, it kind of seems actually worse. It's crazy because I feel like they're just puppets who are tokenized and be like, look, I'm a black person who's from this community, and that's good and all that, But I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at your track record. What's your actions? What's your track records? What are you for? What are you against? As people in San Francisco could see past that to where they don't just focus on just identity, but actually the actions, then we could hold the people in positions of power accountable to the lies that they spewed and to them not pursuing justice. We got dead bodies in the city of San Francisco. I know areas where there's still blood, you know, and there's still bullet holes in Mario Woods' mural where he got shot, you know. So justice for Keito O'Neil, Mario Woods, Kenneth Harding Jr., and all the people that have been murdered by SFPD.
They're allowing him to use an imagined threat to justify this murder, and that wouldn't be permitted in any other case. It's not allowed under California jurisprudence. Has his gun drawn, it's visible on the body-worn camera. In the body-worn, you can actually see him rack the gun as well, which is an interesting fact. All before he ever lays eyes on Keito O'Neil. Keita apparently gets out of the van, he steps out, he's struck by the police car, and starts to run past. And as he runs past the window, 0.83 seconds is what they say after he opened the door and got out, Samayoa shoots him right in the neck and kills him.
And explain this defense
in the meeting with me.
So Officer Samayoa says that he saw O'Neil reach behind his back, and because he believed that all carjackers are armed and dangerous. When I raised that to the Attorney General, what about the fact that he drew his gun 3 seconds before? Doesn't that show premeditation to kill? They said that there were 2 reasonable inferences that could be drawn from that, and one was that because of his training, where he was trained to kill faster, that he was anticipating a threat that wasn't there. In other words, they're allowing him to use an imagined threat to justify this murder, and that wouldn't be permitted in any other case. It's not allowed under California jurisprudence.
You met with Rob Bonta, the Attorney General.
He was with me.
And what happened at that meeting?
He had 2 excuses. One was saying that he just felt the jury would believe the officer. And I told him that's part of the norm. He's supposed to be different. He said that, and I told him, when will somebody in this office have balls to stand up to these policemen for murdering our black and brown men? And he twisted, he was pissed actually. And he jumped out of there. And I told him that, you know, he's no different. And he wrote legislation that said he would be. He said, well, I am doing a case. I'm doing one now, remember?
Yep.
What case? You mean the text messages in Antioch? Is that compared to a black man being murdered? I don't think there's a comparison. It's sad if he thinks they're similar. That tells you where his thinking is.
So the text messages are more important than the murder of
He didn't say what it was, but what else is he doing? He ain't doing too much.
That was the suggestion.
And we just looked, and I was like, what? And he really got mad and left after that because he didn't like what I said. Well, it's the truth. To me, he's just a pretty politician with white teeth who doesn't know how to govern or doesn't want to govern. And sadly, he wants to be our next California governor. It's up to us, folks, to not let that happen, because he's already showing you what he's gonna do. Sadly, he justified the police officer living in a fear. They're trained to shoot. Well, if that's the case, then their fear, is it because they don't like the color of someone's skin or the way they look? That he's gonna justify them shooting someone? This is becoming a police state. Get ready. Vigilante.
Well, I mean, the murder of Banko Brown, they said the security guard said he was afraid. That's why he murdered him.
Well, he's saying the same thing. This is very similar to that case. So I already can tell you, he's not going to do anything for the Bankos. He's not going to do anything for Sean Moore. He's not going to investigate Brooks and allow her to do what she wants. It takes us to vote. Do we have to have buildings burning down? Do we have to have people being beat up? Do we have to have another George Floyd rally? Is that what it's going to take in San Francisco for people to have enough?
Where's Gavin Newsom, the governor?
Okay. Your guess is as good as mine. He appointed the man, but I mean, we can't say he stands by this. We don't know.
What about Barbara Lee?
I don't believe Barbara Lee would stand by this at all. I don't believe that.
She wants to be senator of the United States?
Yeah. You know, I'm not political. I don't want to get into the politics because I really am out of tune. But my focus, you know, my hurt is for the rest of our black and brown men that live in the Bayview that are now vulnerable.
Sounds like a license to kill.
Yes.
That was one of the signs that was at the rally.
That's what he just did. He just gave the go. So now, any officer can say, what was that paintball injury that I had in 2005? It's coming to me now. And start shooting the rest of our black and brown men, and he's going to walk away. But also what he just done is opened up, because paintball is a game. You can rent, you can go play those games, and you have helmets. And now people can use that as a reason to go shoot people, because he just opened up the door to justify it for a cop. I told him, if it was me, you would be after me and prosecute me and put me in jail. Remember?
That's right.
And he said, I don't know his face. I said, you would be after me and put me in jail if it was me. For him to justify this officer. And he walked out when I told him he didn't have the balls. Remember, he got pissed. I hope he don't come after me, guys. So if you do, I'm going to have to depend on y'all, because that man may have long arms to stretch, and I don't know, because I'm speaking truth.
Evidence in this case justifies it because the officer drew his gun 3 seconds before. That evidence is premeditation, an intent to shoot, or at least a negligent state of mind that could get you up to a second degree. Brook Jenkins took over the case after Chesa Boudin was recalled, and she did so with the support of the police unions, and she did so in an environment where San Francisco was feeling much more pro-prosecution. For the first few months, she strung us along, saying that she was going to prosecute. They intended to review the file and set a preliminary hearing. Yet she dragged her feet throughout the entire process. The only time a preliminary hearing was set was when the judge forced her to set a preliminary hearing. And when the date for the preliminary hearing actually arrived, Brook Jenkins had then switched her position and decided to dismiss the case, she says, because she felt it was charged for political reasons. Rob Bonta took over the case at our request and a simultaneous request of Brook Jenkins. And in his initial assessment, he discarded her contention that there was a conflict that would have prevented her from prosecuting the case. He discarded the notion that it was politically motivated. He then moved to an analysis of abuse of discretion, whether or not Brook Jenkins' dismissal amounted to an abuse of discretion. He spent the next, I'd say, month and a half up until yesterday weighing those options, and ultimately came to the conclusion that he felt it was not. And in that decision, he credited a self-defense on a theory that I think is legally unfounded. Specifically, in order to get to the self-defense that he thinks could be done at trial, you would have to allow the officer to imagine a threat and use that as justification for murdering somebody. That's not a legal standard in California, and it's not permissible. No one's allowed to walk down the street, see somebody, and imagine that they're going to do imminent harm and therefore kill them. And that's what Bonta said in this case. Moreover, in doing so, he wrote a 21-page letter, more or less echoing Brook Jenkins. These letters are unforgivable. These letters are poisoning any potential future jury. It's going to make it all that much harder to have a fair trial in the future if a prosecutor with a backbone decides to charge the case. And that very much could happen because the statute of limitations on murder doesn't exist. There is no statute. And on voluntary manslaughter, there's another 3 years. So San Francisco has time to put in a new DA and make sure that happens.
Last thing is, briefly, I want to be respectful of your time because I think I have about 2 more minutes left. Where do you guys go legally from here, on the criminal side and civil side?
At this point, it's a matter of civil action. The people of San Francisco and California need to hold these politicians to account. Both of them were elected on lies, promises that they were going to hold police accountable. Rob Bonta specifically passed legislation on holding police accountable. This was his opportunity. This was more than a winnable case. This was nearly a slam dunk case. And yet he did everything that he could to poison it and to walk this cop. That's a lie to California. Given the current events in San Francisco, the recent non-charge decisions and vigilante justice, the other police killings that are out there of unarmed black and brown people, San Francisco cannot allow this to stand. California cannot allow this to stand. We're returning to the Wild West where nobody is safe and people are going to pay the price. We need to have people in power that will enforce the law and will do so evenly, and more importantly, will hold police accountable. The people who are charged to protect us should not be murdering us, and they should not be concocting imaginary reasons to do so.
The trial at 9 o'clock, in a few minutes, to dismiss the case. I want us to be conscious, to be aware that we will never get justice under this system. Never. Never. And if you have questioned that, just look at what's happening right now. Right? You have a attorney general that ran under the agreement or putting forward that his program was around stopping police impunity, persecuting those who has murdered young black and brown young men and women with total impunity. And he had a chance to do it with Keito O'Neil because it was a clear case. So he didn't do it. And here it is somebody that we were hoping on. And then on the other hand, we have a criminal that has been elected, quote unquote, as the district attorney of this city. That evil person that lied and got paid to lie in order to get rid of a district attorney that was decent. He was doing something for us, the people that we felt was good. But she lied, she got paid, and she's still the district attorney, and we are seeing why she was put there. We've seen it. Because it's not only the case of Keito O'Neil or the other cases that are there that she's dismissing. She's going to dismiss another one, the 25th or something like that.
Jail, kill the cop.
So we are saying that she even in this last crime that happens at Walgreens, without even looking at the video, without even talking to witnesses, immediately she dropped the charges. She didn't even charge. And this was a young man of 24 years old, homeless since he was 12 years old, that was hungry and took some candy in order to eat, and we say that it's okay to kill for that. And now we find out that we have another type of police, which are the security guards. And they have guns. And they have guns, those security guards have guns, and they are what I call cheap pay police, the police that are being paid less than those goddamn police officers get paid.
There's another one down there. Yes. Yes.
So we are in trouble, Henry. We are in real trouble. And only we can change that. Even if it's 2 or 3 or 4 of us, we got to continue the struggle to find justice. And there is no excuse for any of us to be divided at this moment. For any of us not to be aware of what's going on. For any of us not to fight for unity. For any of us not to come out and demand that this woman resign. That this woman resign immediately. That we need to abolish the police department as it is right now. We need to abolish the police department because the police department is the legacy of the slave catchers. So think about the mentality that they have. It's a legacy. That's where it comes from. So it has that mentality. So we need to create a new entity that is an arm. In many countries in Europe, the police has no guns. So we need to have that type of police that is an arm and that is responsible to the communities that they serve and protect. We need that. It's urgent. Also, the Police Officer Association is not a union. It's a Ku Klux Klan club. Those are Ku Klux Klaners dressed in blue. That must be shut down. They must be shut down. No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.